Vulnerability management in 2026 looks very different from what most teams built their programs around even a few years ago. The biggest shift we're seeing is the move away from treating vulnerability severity as the primary signal and toward prioritizing risk based on real environmental context. For a long time, teams sorted findings by CVSS score and worked from the top down. That approach still has value, but on its own, it doesn't tell you what is actually exploitable inside your architecture. A critical vulnerability on an isolated development machine may present little practical risk. At the same time, a medium severity issue on an internet-facing service with access to sensitive data could create immediate exposure. What security teams are focused on now is identifying what many practitioners call toxic combinations. That's where a vulnerability intersects with overly permissive identity access, public reachability, and sensitive data. When those factors align, the risk profile changes dramatically. To identify those intersections, vulnerability management has to extend beyond scanning. Teams are correlating vulnerability findings with identity paths, runtime signals, and network exposure to understand how an attacker could actually move through an environment. When you layer in attack path analysis, prioritization becomes grounded in business impact and blast radius rather than raw severity. The question shifts from how severe a vulnerability is to what could realistically happen if a specific path is exploited. At the same time, artificial intelligence is reshaping vulnerability management in two parallel ways. It is expanding the attack surface, and it is becoming one of the most effective tools for managing risk at scale. For example, AI is becoming essential for making sense of the volume and complexity of modern environments. Machine learning is now used to correlate large volumes of security telemetry and connect isolated vulnerabilities to identity permissions, runtime behavior, and exposure paths. This helps surface what is truly exploitable rather than what simply appears severe. We're also seeing predictive analysis mature. By combining threat intelligence with environmental context, platforms can highlight vulnerabilities that are more likely to be targeted and recommend remediation actions aligned to the teams responsible for fixing them,